The United Nations has warned that Yemen and Sudan are facing acute famine. According to the report, people in those two countries would not be able to secure their basic needs by the mid of next year. This report has more details.
Up to 345 million people across the world are on the verge of famine, with 70 million of those people being driven further into poverty by the conflict in Ukraine. According to the UN Food Chief, the world is facing a global emergency of unprecedented magnitude. According to David Beasley, Executive Director of the UN World Food Programme, 345 million people in 82 nations are chronically food insecure, which is 2.5 times more people than there were before the COVID-19 pandemic struck in 2020. He expressed grave concern that 50 million of those people in 45 nations are suffering from severe malnutrition and are knocking on famine's door. What was once a wave of hunger is now a tsunami of hunger, he warned, citing escalating violence, the economic ramifications of the pandemic, climate change, rising fuel prices, and the situation in Ukraine. Soaring food, gasoline, and fertilizer prices have pushed 70 million people closer to starvation since Russia invaded its neighbor on February 24th, according to Beasley. Widespread and increasing food insecurity is a direct and indirect result of conflict and violence, which kills and injures civilians, forces families to flee the land on which they rely for income and food, and leads to economic decline and rising food prices that they cannot afford. Yemen has been at war for more than 7 years, and 19 million people are highly food insecure. An estimated 160,000 people are facing disaster, and 538,000 children are critically malnourished. According to Beasley, the Ukraine war is fueling inflation in Yemen, which is 90% dependent on food imports. The World Food Programme intends to assist around 18 million people this year, but its expenditures have increased by 30% to $2.6 billion. As a result, it has been forced to scale back aid, resulting in Yemenis receiving only 2/3 of their regular food rations this month. Officials have urged the Security Council to leave no stone unturned in its efforts to resolve these crises and increase funding for humanitarian operations.